you have a binary choice now. We can either go to the NHL, look at the rookies, guys from this past year's draft, or some guys that have popped up, or just go straight into 2026.
Let's talk rookies real quick, because there's some interesting, like obviously Demidov is Demidov, and we've talked about Demidov a million times, so we don't necessarily have to dive in on the guy likely to win the Calder.
Right.
But there's a lot of really interesting rookies that made rosters out of camp.
Yes.
Braden Coots, your boy Kindle, guys like
Matt
Dickinson. Like there's so many guys.
You saw Emmett
Finney. I saw
First
Emmett Finney
line
live.
winger. First line winger.
Line with Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin.
Awesome.
And I haven't seen a player do one single thing so consistently since Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Zach Hyman were aligned in that rookie year, where Zach Hyman did not have any ability to do anything with the puck. He just stood in front of the net and then hunted pucks in corners. And that's exactly what Emmett Finney did. And you know what? When you're playing with Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin,
God love you.
You can do that.
Yep, you can do it.
Because he was super annoying in front of the net, and then he was super annoying in the corner. There's some weird rookies in the NHL this year, but it's a fun group. Like obviously you got Misa Schaefer, Z William. My question to you, William,
yes,
is who would be your dark horse rookie for this year? Is it Sam Rinzel? We're gonna have to follow through on a very dark safe chat in our group?
I really liked what he did down the stretch. I mean, I thought that he looked immediately very, very comfortable at both ends of the ice, especially offensively. The numbers that he drove in a very limited sample relative to some of the other guys that were on that defense group in Chicago. Chicago, in my opinion, is so desperate for guys who can lean a little more offensively reliably without sacrificing too much defense, because so many of those guys are just plugs. Like, not, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but they literally are like a plug in a bathtub. Like, they will prevent the water from falling out, and like they are there to do a job and they do it fine. Del Mastro and like Vlasic's really good at that. Louis Crevier is hanging around. Like a guy like Rinzel can bring a little bit more of a leaning thing in the offensive direction. And I thought he looked great at the end of last year, but I don't know. I mean, I watched as much of the preseason as I could going into this year. I really liked also what I saw out of a Ville Koivunen with Pittsburgh last year. And you want to talk about a team that has room for young guys to actually play and knock out some veterans who have jobs. Like, Pittsburgh is a pretty good example of that. And I think he's on paper on the first line. Like, he played with Sidney Crosby last season.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you play with Sidney Crosby, you're going to have a good time. So I'd throw him out there as well. You know, a guy like Jonathan Lekaramaki, you throw him out on a power play and he scores 30 goals just banging shots in. I mean, maybe there's some momentum there. I don't know. Do you have anyone in mind that might pass your smell test?
We talked about Connor McDavid earlier, so whichever one of Savoy and Isaac Howard end up playing a lot with him this year would be fun.
Well, Howard's in the minors, so
no, I know that, but I think,
idiot.
Let's be honest. Look at the Edmonton Oilers roster and tell me that he's not going to find his way back up there.
He's not going to find his way back up there.
Oh,
James Hamblin will.
Okay, now that you brought up James Hamblin and Louis Crevier, you're just making names up from an NHL 25 like
honestly
player thing.
I would love it if the NHL made. If the NHL did, like, you know how they do first team and second team all-stars and like all that stuff?
Yes.
I would love, did you even know this guy was a player teams?
Yes.
Guys who even prospect.
Why don't you make it?
I should do that. That's true. But like, even guys who are goof-offs like us who follow guys from when they're 17 through 25 don't know who these guys are. It's like, I have never heard this name in my life. Where did this person come from? What is even happening here? I'm sure there are more than one, right? Who's the guy that Colorado called up? They drafted him in the 7th round. Nikita Prishkipov, like,
oh, yes.
I 7th round pick already in the NHL, and like,
you know who's going to be on that team in 2 years? Emmett Finney.
Hey, we know his name though. Like, hey, James Hamlin.
You know who is on that team? Zakhar Bardakov.
Yeah,
Zakhar Bardakov.
Yeah, I don't remember much about him at all. Ryan Shea. What is Ryan Shea? Who is that? I don't know who that is. I can't tell you if he is a valuable member of the Pittsburgh Penguins or not, because I don't believe that he's real. That has always been very interesting to me. But yes,
Denmark and Australia, they're not real.
But yeah, I agree though to your point. The original one, like Matthew Savoy, I thought also looked great in the limited time he got in the NHL last year. I think he's penciled in on the second line in Edmonton. Awesome. Something like that. Yes. And yeah, I'm very excited to see him as well. I don't know. Do you have anyone else in mind?
Not among the dark horses. Like, there's a lot of a lot of bigger name guys coming too. Like, I mean, Zane Parekh has made the roster. Zeke Williams, fantastic. Like, there's a lot of really interesting guys. Like, Ryan Leonard's going to be fun to watch. I feel like right now, like, there's a lot of guys that people were expecting to make NHL rosters. Gabe Perreault. And then there's guys who no one expected, like Finney or Gridden, and they made it. And we'll see how long they last. It's going to be fun because I feel like this year more than others, there's a lot of guys that I'm like, oh, yeah, like, I could see him getting 9 games, but, like, there's zero chance he's making the league for the full year.
Berkeley Catton cracked the Kraken. Apparently he's going to be in the lineup at least for the starting point. Both guys Toronto traded at the trade deadline last year are probably going to get decent roles on their teams now. Fraser Minton and Nikita Grubunkin, they're both going to be playing. The Rangers are going to play Noah Laba. It seems that he's on the roster. Laba was an interesting one because I remember watching. I had never heard of him when they drafted him, and when I went and watched him, I went, well, I could see why an NHL team would draft this guy. He was just big, zipping around and crushing guys, and I went, yeah, okay, kids, if you're watching, here's your formula. Become above 6 feet tall, skate like the wind, don't even bother with the puck. Just crush everybody and you'll go far. Like, someone will notice if you are faster than most of the other guys on the ice, bigger than most of the other guys on the ice, and just pound the opponents into submission.
Most of the other guys on the
So it makes sense for me that a guy like Noah Laba could eventually crack an NHL team, especially with some skills training and some development. So there's always that as well. I also like the odd one out that I don't know if he'll stick, but Justin Sourdif, I think, is on the opening night roster for Washington.
Oh, yes.
And I think that could be a really sneaky good pickup for them. I've always really liked Justin Sourdif, and I'm surprised it didn't work out in Florida for him, honestly, but I don't think he's a player that I would expect. Like, who would I take off of Florida's forward group to play him? Based on what I've seen of them, I don't know. But sort of in Washington, I think Spencer Carberry could make something work out of a guy like that. The Islanders obviously have Schaefer, but like Maxim Shabanov is an interesting player who's coming over, and we'll see what he's capable of. The Devils, they've got Arseny Grutziuk, one of the OG scouting boys, yes. Arseny Grutziuk. All eyes are going to be on Ivan Demidov, but there's going to be a lot of other ones. You were just at the game in Detroit, and you saw Michael Bronsick-Nugard, and he's been excellent. From what I've seen.
Fantastic on Saturday. Like, he was the guy that I'm like, man, if you could put him with Larkin and Raymond, he could do everything Emmett Finney does and more. Like, really, I thought Bronsick-Nugard was maybe Detroit's best forward for most of the night that night. And it's a preseason game against Toronto's AHL team, but I loved him in his draft year. He was a guy that when I was using Detroit's picks, he's still one of the only players that I've ever picked with Detroit's pick that they also picked. Yeah. I've gone differently every other way. He's smart. He's physical. He can forecheck. And he's got a great shot. And I think he's going to work out really, really well for that Wings team if he keeps on the roster the full year, assuming that he gets a chance away from Kopp and Comfer at some point.
A brief shout out, because we've loved this player for years, but Gavin Brindley cracked the Colorado Avalanche roster, it seems, out of camp. And I watched a bit of the Avalanche in preseason a little while ago, and that guy can ball out. The one that we probably should mention that we haven't yet is Beckett Seneca is seemingly going to crack Anaheim. I'm not sure why you would send him back to junior, even if he might not be there yet. I saw a bit of him in preseason as well, because I was curious about the Ducks. The Ducks are very quickly becoming, for me, one of the most intriguing teams to watch this year, for sure. But yeah, so Seneca is probably the last one that I wanted to mention. I mean, Brady Martin also in the NHL. I should also throw that one out there. But Braden Coots also cracked an NHL roster. Like, it's crazy. Like, this year's been one wild.
The 2025 class has like 5 guys from the first round making rosters. Yeah, which is crazy to me, because like,
I did not think that was going to happen.
I didn't think it was going to happen, and I don't think it's going to last. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see at least a few of them go back to the junior hockey for a class that no one really liked. It's turned out to be a pretty good class, at least in preseason this year. Beckett Seneca's, he's the perfect example of a player that they're trying to get that AHL age limit exemption, whatever you want to call it, lowered to 19 for one player per team, because he's a guy that I think you send him to the AHL, and that's where he probably develops best. Because like, you go back to the OHL and he's going to torch it, and then you go to the NHL and he's probably going to be a little bit overwhelmed. I caught a couple Ducks preseason games, and the one I remember specifically going, man, like, Seneca looks like he's trying stuff. It's just nothing he tried work that night. I think he's a very good player, but I think it's going to be up and down for him, I think, this year. Yeah, if he sticks with the Ducks the full year.
Yeah, I mean, I would think he would, because he can't
I
go.
would assume
the
so.
AHL thing is for next season, right? So
Yeah.
someone also mentioned in the chat that the discussion about Noah Laba earlier, that's basically AJ Spellacy, and he almost made the team last year out of camp,
Yeah.
right? Like if you do that, you can play. People will find a way to move you up the ladder if you do those kinds of things. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think you're right. I mean, someone also mentioned that Ryan Green's only playing because Landon Slaggert is injured and Lucas Reichel might get waived and who knows what happens. I mean, okay, but still, like they're playing Ryan Green. Like that's a pretty interesting idea, and he's an interesting player, and we're just happy these kids are living their dream, especially if we like them and it makes us look smart. Because then it's correct and we're all set.